To your presentation. Any of you here? I'm not sure who all the presenters are, so.
I don't think they did. They can just come up because we didn't.
Jones, do you know who the presenters were?
I do not
They just
totally
come
know
up to
all of the presenters, so if you were here and you were going to give your 3 minutes, we would ask you to come up one at a time.
To the stage, whoever. So there was a gentleman setting up just at the beginning of our meeting. Is he still here?
Yeah, he's still here. Mr. Collins, you might want to go last because you have a little bit more to present, so you might want to go last, but we can just have our presenters line up and then we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello and good evening. My name is Miss Bell. I am the ringer bell for ASL, and I was listening in the audience, and I really appreciate you guys considering having the students have American Sign Language as part of their curriculum. And yes, it is a foreign language, but it is spoken in a different form of gesture. So it's English, but they use a form of gesture to make a clarification of what a word or a meaning is. I really appreciate the fact that we are bringing this to our students. Sign language is not only going to help them communicate with deaf people, but it helps them with science, mathematics, emotional, cognitive, physical abilities. It helps them with music, theater. It goes across the curriculum. And being a daughter of a mother who was deaf and growing up being isolated because somebody didn't understand what my mother and I were speaking, they called us deaf and dumb. Now we're embracing the students, and now we're going to make it fun. We're not going to call it deaf and dumb. We're going to call it fun. And because they're going to be doing the gestures, it won't be a stigma to the deaf people who are doing the sign language. So I do have a staff of deaf people, so I will be bringing deaf people into the classroom, so they will be interacting with the deaf people. We will also have translators in the classroom, so if the kids have a question, it can be communicated through the translator to the deaf person. It's going to be wonderful. So thank you, and that's all I have to say.
If you could leave your information with our secretary, that would be great. Okay.
I will do that.
So, Ms. Pam, would you please get her info? Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
Normally we don't have dialogue back and forth, but does she have time for one question? Is that okay?
Ms. Bell. Yes.
Yeah, so my understanding is that there is different types of sign language, ASL being one of them, American Sign Language. Does this fall under American Sign Language?
There are different forms of sign language. If you're in Mexico, you have Mexican Sign Language.
Sure.
If you're in Italy, you have Italian Sign Language. So ASL is American Sign Language, but there's also Sign Exact English, which is SEE.
Okay.
And SEE is a form where somebody had developed back in the French era, where they wanted to use English in form of signing. So you use the English word for the sign. And the deaf people didn't like it. And the reason why they didn't like it, because it's too many signs to make one word. So they came up with one way to do one word, and that was it. So that's why people don't understand it, because they created, hey, this is hello, we're gonna salute. When the French did it, they did hello. It's too much. They didn't want to accept it. So it's a French language, but it's American English.
Okay, so it's not ASL, it's called CSE?
No, there's two. There's CEE, Sign Exact English. And then there's American Sign Language, where they're going to be learning how to create visions and use their bodies to express, and they're going to use their hands to fingerspell. Sign exact English is just English, but the sign word. And they don't teach that in the deaf schools. They teach sign language. So it's a form of creativity, so to speak, versus sign language, signing exact English. It's not English, because deaf people have a hard time with English. So what we're going to bring into the classroom is we're going to allow the students to do their English in sign language.
Thank you.
I hope I didn't confuse you. A little bit. Yeah, they don't do exact English anymore. It's old, it's outdated, it's back in the 100s and BCs. They're just doing sign language now.
If I go to Michigan School for the Deaf, it's ASL.
It's ASL.
Okay, and if I go to college, I'm going to take ASL.
You're going to take ASL.
And this is or is not ASL?
This will be ASL.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yes.
Our next presenter.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, folks. My name is Jeff Hawkins. I am owner of A&J Janitorial Company. We do janitorial, but we also do building maintenance management as equal. In your RFPs, there's no current bid for janitorial, but I do want to make sure I introduce myself for any future work that can arise through the district. Flint born, product of Flint schools, and this is the first school that I worked at, and I worked in the school system for 14 years, so it's good to be back in here. We currently have one of our districts that we do is Beecher District, and then we have some federal contracts as well. One of the main things that we've done and been successful at is create a team of people, not only custodians, but maintenance staff, and we have been successful at not only keeping a team, but keeping people interested in working for A&J. We also work with SYI and was successful in teaching young people, which has been a big plus for us, how to use machines and gain those type of skills, even if they want to go into entrepreneurship. With the Beecher District, we're currently working with the elementary principal to do some in-school activities with dads and uncles and men in the community to just assist the young boys in mentorship. So it's more than just a custodial company. We've been able to couple that with community and work with community within those districts. So I just wanted to make sure that I present that to you. I do have our capability statements that I'll leave with you all. And at any given time, if you have any questions or if you want to look into it further, my number is on there. Our website is on there. And one of the great things that's a pleasure to me to say to anybody that you can always call anyone in our current that we contract with and talk to them without me even being present. I'm confident in that. And they can tell you anything and everything about A&J Janitorial. So I want to say thank you for this time, and we look forward to hopefully being able to have a partnership in the near future. If anybody have any questions, please, I'll be more than happy to entertain. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Juan Davis, and some of you up here know who I am. I'm a Flint former City Council and Vice President of the City Council. I'm gonna give you a little history of me, just a little history. I started this janitorial company, which is Quality Custodial, when I was a city councilman, because I seen that there was a lot of young men like me struggling. I started it 8 years ago, and I ended up doing, off of $50, I started with one apartment complex, and at some point I ended up doing 26 apartment complexes all over the state of Michigan. I ended up starting doing schools when I was doing an apartment complex, but it became so tedious in doing an apartment complex, traveling all over the state of Michigan. I started doing schools. And then I started doing post-construction cleaning. In my journey or excursion in doing cleaning service, none of the schools that I've ever cleaned, especially when COVID came out, has ever been dealt with COVID. Right now, I'm doing charter schools right now, and they delivered a great letter for me to be able to elaborate on what I gave the information to one of your colleagues. My goal in janitorial cleaning has always been to always keep the buildings clean or entities clean. My grandmother, who was a middle-class family, raised me and my brother off of cleaning. She worked in Flint for 30 years as a housekeeper, and she instilled cleaning into our family, and that's where I came to desire from. It has not always been about money. It's been more about the passion of my job to keep things clean, disinfected, and sanitized. And also is to give underprivileged people and struggling people the opportunity to work. I started this company off of $50, and my company became a multi-million-dollar company off of $50. And helping people because I knew what our city of Flint, Michigan really needed in order to bring the morals and the values back into the community. And most importantly, to bring the morals and the values back into the community. People needed some form of employment. What people don't understand, especially in the city of Flint, Michigan, where my grandparents came from the South uneducated, when Charles Ford and Billy Durant created General Motors, our family became middle-class people. They were uneducated, but they became middle-class people. What you see today, there are no jobs in the city of Flint, Michigan. So the moral value has declined. And so what you see today is a lot of homicide, robbery, stealing, just all improprieties. If we would instill back jobs for the uneducated people, which is most important, what you don't understand is over half of the population in the city of Flint, Michigan right now are ex-con and felons. That's over half of the population. When I started the company, I started employing these people. They may not can work in the schools. I started off with apartment complexes, and I was able to give them jobs cleaning apartment complexes. And you just don't know how tedious that is to be traveling all over the state of Michigan, driving people all over the state. A lot of them didn't have cars. So I would drive to Detroit, Saginaw, Bay City, and come back to Flint. Whoever was done first, I would go pick them up. Right now, where we're suffering from, even in the school system, is low economics. If their family and mother was burdened, the moral value goes back up. You have to duplicate the infrastructure and use the infrastructure for what it's made for. And I'm going to conclude in one more minute if you get it to. Our infrastructure is designed for jobs. We're lacking jobs. If we create jobs, it brings the moral value back into the system. Even the people that go to the schools today, they watch their mother and fathers grow up in impoverished times. Education is great, but we have to include some form of economics to bring the moral value system back up. And this is what we're suffering from. That is the reason why I started a cleaning service, to bring the moral value back up. Because I know a lot of them wasn't educated, but I knew they would work. I have a lot of people working for me right now, unfortunately, that's not educated. But it brings some moral value back into their lives. The school that you see on Robert's Longway, LCC, my company cleaned that as a post-construction in order to be up and doing the things it's doing now. Hurley Hospital built a new pediatrician floor. My company, we did that, and we post-constructed cleaning that. I made my company a multi-million-dollar company off of $50 starting a cleaning company. It wasn't about the money, it was the passion that I had to bring the moral standards back up. And fortunately, I did it on cleaning. So what I'm asking, whenever the time comes up for bid to clean Flint schools, I and my company have the aptitude in order to get the job done and get the job done correctly. None of the jobs that I've ever been assigned to has ever caught COVID-19. And none of the jobs I do, I gave you a letter right now that I asked her to pass around each and every one of you. It's a minimum letter, but it's a great letter. And it speaks from a school principal, identifying the type of service we give them at charter schools. He said he has never once had to call my company about any complaint. And if there was a service need for my company, he would highly recommend it. Once again, I made my company a multi-million-dollar company for $50 in passion. It was more about the passion than it was about anything else. Because in going clean, you have to have a passion about it. And that passion trickled down to your subordinates. And so that's all I have to say at this particular time. And if you ever want to contact me, my number is 810-391-7060. And last but not least, that was the reason why I ran for city council. And some of you guys don't know, I and the Chamber of Commerce is who brought Lear to Flint. I'm just speaking about the things that I have a passion for. I brought Lear to Flint and put it in my ward on Robert T. Mulway, economic and development, and bringing the moral value back into our system. That's something that connected to what you guys desire to do with the educational system. Fortunately, mine's clean, and I've hired a lot of people over the city of Flint, Michigan, and have them working today off of clean. So if you gave me an opportunity, I would have a lot of them working in Flint schools, and we would give you the same passion, the same moral value, and the same quality that I give all of my other services to everyone else all over the state of Michigan. So my name is Juan Davis, a former Flint City Councilman, and I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity to enunciate the passion that I would have for the Flint Community Schools if you gave me the opportunity. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Thank you. I think our last presenter.
You've got a couple more.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Keisha Turo. I am running for a 6-year term on the school board. So I want to thank you all because this is a way for me to get my ideas out. I'm not up here, I'm not asking for any money, but I have an idea of a program that I've been hoping to get out to the community. And that is kind of like a police academy for the youth. And I say this because we have a shortage of police officers in the community. You do have to be 21 in order to go through the police academy to be an official police officer. But just like the ROTC program, I think we need to introduce our community to law enforcement so that we can have our own community, police our own community at some point. So I don't have the actual program, but there are organizations out here, and I'm not speaking for anyone, but there's a Man Up program that I know in the community that might be a resource for that type of programming in the school. But I'm just throwing an idea out there for a police academy for the youth. Thank you.
Mr. Cobb. Mr. Cobb. So I don't want some of our folks in the audience to confuse this meeting with our regular cow meeting. And so we're going to have 3 minutes for our guests that came to our regular community of the whole board meeting speak when we open up that meeting. So this meeting is just the conclusion of our community relations committee meeting that started at 5:30. And so Mr. Collins, you are last. And then we're going to bring this meeting to a close.
Thank you.
Mr. Kevin, am I saying your name wrong or something? Yes, sir.
today. Glad to be here. My name is Kevin Baba Collins, and I am a resident of Flint, and I am from the Flint schools. And I have a nonprofit organization which is called the African Drum and Dance Parent Association. And today, I'd like to give you some information. Now, you have a sheet in front of you about total programs that I've been doing for the Flint schools. For the last 4 years, I have been doing a special needs or special disability program with the John F. Kennedy Performing Arts Center in Washington, D.C. And I have been working with an organization for almost 30 years. And what was kind of happening, they say they were serving the Flint schools, but they weren't serving the Flint schools. They were serving around the Flint schools. So I broke away from that organization, and I have my own nonprofit, and I wanted to help the students of Flint schools. So what I would do is I have a program to where we would come in, do drumming, dancing. We have a curriculum map that we would work with each teacher, making sure we got what that teacher wanted out of the class, and then we did other things as far as with your math, your English, your history, different things of this nature with it. So we would always stay in the guidelines of what the school board and what Michigan Education has to do. We would always stay in the guidelines. So I've been serving for the last 4 years, all the schools in the city of Flint that I've been doing this. Also, we had a portion that we were doing after school classes with some of the other organizations in the city of Flint as well, but it didn't work out because we had to have certain data to go back to our funders to show what we were learning and teaching the children. Turns out they wouldn't give us any kind of data, so we had to start going and doing our own searching for our own after-school programs that we have did. So doing that, we went to the housing projects and different places of that nature that we had been doing. Still really wanted to serve in the Flint schools. So I would like to show you a couple of things that we've been doing. These are some of our students that we have under the nonprofit that we have. We have a drum and dance company which travels nationwide. It's called Kunganai. Kunganai, which means to be connected. So we feel we are connected with everybody everywhere we go. And we've been traveling all over the state of Michigan and different places that we also do. Our after-school programs. In our after-school programs that we do several different things. First of all, we have an African choir that we teach. Also, we teach a drum and dance. We have home ed programs to where we teach them etiquette, how to put your table together, how to cook, how to sew. We have 8 sewing machines and we have 2 embroidery machines. So we went back to what we call life skills with our children that we did. And we teach them drumming, dance, buckets, pots and pans, those type of things, etc. that we do. We also have a program which is called, for our sons, called Youth Moves. Youth Moves is where we have an 6 to 8 week program, and in that program that we have, we travel around to different organizations and different programs, teaching and mentoring young people in our organization that we have. As I told you, I've been working with the disabilities from the Kennedy Center. I just recently got back Friday we were in Raleigh, North Carolina with the John F. Kennedy Performing Arts Center. I have played and performed with Ambassador Jane Kennedy Smith, which that is her baby. She started that many years ago. So we have been all over. We've been doing a lot of the classes, and it's a beautiful program, you know. And then one of the things that we really wanted to focus on is we knew we had the water crisis. So we figured out how can we help our students learn? How can we get things back to where we need to do and keep educating our children? Life skills that we talked about. You see some of the children cooking, learning how to cook and cut up a chicken, how to cook. We had one student say, I know how to cook an egg, you put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. We had to show him that's not how you cook an egg. Arts and craft. We do the arts and craft, and also we do something special in the arts and craft that I want to share with you. If any of you know what gourds are, we take the gourds. They can be broken, they can be whatever. We wash them and we clean them, and we make what we call shaker-rays, which are used for instruments. These are the ones that our students have made themselves. We teach them how to braid, how to shellac on them, do their own art form work. So these are instruments that we use, and they have their own business of running these type of things. So we teach them how to be, your entrepreneurship, want to do that. We also we work with our seniors as well. We have senior drumming and jamming. So we get the 85 and the 60 years old and the 75s, and they come and we teach them rhythm with our balls that we do, and they be jamming too, So we work with a lot of homes right here in the city of Flint. We also have an instrumental music program, which is also included in our after-school program, where we teach guitar, bass, trumpets, horns, violins, cellos, and we have these instruments ourselves right now that we teach, and we do not charge any money for any student to come and learn in our program. So a child can come and want to learn violin, we start them violin, and there's no cost to them. We talked about our entrepreneurship program, as you see the children working with the shaker-rays. That's it. And furthermore, before we finish, I would like to do a small performance for you, for the children, to let you see what Flint is about. These children are getting ready to go to Washington, D.C. to a conference. It's called Conqueror, a company that we belong to. They're in like almost their 40 years, and our nonprofit's in its 27 years, so we've been going back and forth. And this year, they've been traveling all over, just about everywhere. So we like to do a first piece, which is called Kakilande, very short, and then we like to do one dance for you. The dances and the drum rhythms we do, nothing we have made up. Thousands and thousands of years old from our tradition. This is what we're about. We're about youth, learning, and education. And one of the things I want to say, we take time out to have a relationship with students, get to know them. We also have an educational program where they don't get their grades right, they got to deal with Fboe Cow. It's not our play. I'm first about education. Ashante, which means thank you. Shante Sama, thank you very much. Peace.
Very good. Thank you much. Okay, so are there any comments from any committee members? Okay, the next community relations subcommittee meeting is planned for Tuesday, September 12th at 5:30 p.m. Seeing no further business, I declare the community relations subcommittee meeting adjourned. And the time is 7:07.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Fboe Education Committee for the whole meeting to order at 7:08. Board members, as I call your name, please Vice President Atkins. And Trustee Gibbard. Trustee Green absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer Roman.
Present.
Secretary Booth. Present. Treasurer McIntyre. Present. And myself, Mayor Hill, present. We have I, present, and 2 absent. The board now hear a comment from the public. We have Aaron Slade, SAGE. We ask that you stay brief to address the board and you limit your remarks to 3 minutes on matters within the authority of the board and not address the individual by name. The presiding officer of the board shall have the right to limit the number of persons who may address the board on the same subject. Please state your name and address first before beginning to speak. Once again, we have Aaron Slade.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Aaron Sage. I'm an 8th grade science teacher at Homestead Academy. I've come here today to speak with you on the interests of safety and staff retention at Homestead School. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 3rd full day of school for this year, and we've already had it run into our school building. Look, it was a BB gun, and no one was hurt. But for the record, it was a gun nonetheless. It has been brought to my attention that you received many requests for metal detectors and safety devices to be installed in the building. Many requests on the part of both staff and security officials who work tirelessly to keep our scholars from harm. That should be everyone's immediate concern. We don't want to be the next Oxford. We're worried that that's going to be the case. This lack of protection leaves us vulnerable to tragedies that can be prevented with reasonable measures that are presented in other middle schools in our area. What's it going to take? How many more master teachers and safety advocates are going to leave our district? What about building administrators and families that are leaving our district? Look, it's common belief in this community that people don't care about homes. I'm kind of embarrassed. Our parking lot is a disgrace. Cars are damaged and towed away. People have been hurt simply trying to get in and out of the building. It is well known that staff and students alike have been seeking safer alternatives to homes. And can we afford to lose any more students in our seats? Can we afford to lose any more teachers in our classrooms? Look, the only answer is no. I'm just needing your help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to address the board?
How you doing? My name is Jermaine Turner. Address 2611 Prospect Street. I'm here for a proposal for in-kind donation on Merle Middle School, Merle Elementary School. I'm from an organization called Reviving Our Cities Communities. I've coached AAU basketball for the last 10 years. I've ran programming, still programming, after school programming, summer programs. Out of the SDEV, Flint Development Center, and now I'm operating out of high school. I have a passion for the youth. I've been working with youth all my life. Before I knew it was mentoring, I was always guiding youth at our local park, which our organization has adopted. We've adopted that park for the last 7 years. We have a new playground put in, new basketball court, and recently just got a new soccer field. So I have a proposal, my business plan, and a list of my partners and potential partners. I have a list of the partners that help me now list Local Initiative Support Corporation. They have a program that I've entered where they have development dollars for new developments. So I have people lined up to help and to donate, but I don't have the building to address the people properly. I have partners that work with me that we have no place to work at us, so we can't work at full capacity. So I would like to give you my proposal, business plan, and my list, and also have a letter addressed to the board. I would like to turn that in today.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you. I now turn the floor to Mr. Johnson.
Yes, we have the agenda in front of us, so I'm asking for an exception from the board for us to address the teacher who just presented to us, because it involves safety and students, and I don't think she should have to stay to the end and maybe get a response. So I would move that we suspend the agenda, just to allow board members to comment on her concern, or the superintendent, whoever may wish. Yeah, yes. What's the motion?
There's a motion on the floor. It's been supported. Second, I guess. Is there any discussion?
Yes, thank you. So, when I first was appointed to the board last September, October there, at the end of September, one of the things I mentioned was safety first, students first, safety first.
Point of order. We're discussing the motion, to the president. We're discussing the motion and whether we're going to vote on the motion.
Yes.
Isn't that correct?
There's
So
a motion on the floor.
So we need to vote if we're going to discuss it, not actually discuss the issue.
There's a motion on the floor. He wants to make a change to the agenda to address the issue of the teacher. It's been second.
It's made and seconded, and then is
Then
there
we
any
should
discussion?
proceed with a roll call vote to,
Well, now
what do you guys?
we're having discussion about whether we're going to have the vote, not about the issue itself.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he's discussing, he's not germane to
Yeah, okay.
the discussion.
Point of order. Point of order, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
His motion was to suspend the agenda.
and bring.
That is what has to happen first.
So.
You gotta take a vote to suspend, and you go to the next part. So that is the correct.
We do that in a second. It's a motion to suspend. We would take a roll call vote.
Well, is there any discussion on the roll call vote?
On the suspension.
We're doing a roll call to just change the agenda, and we'll need a vote to do what Mr. Gilbert asked.
So what, if I may, Board President, so what board member treasurer was saying is that we're not supposed to be discussing the issue. We're supposed to just have discussion on the motion, and so it seems like we were about to have discussion on what the teacher had stated. That's correct. So she was trying to stop that from happening.
Yeah. That's the point we'll take.
Recognize.
That's the point we'll take.
Yeah. Now we will proceed with a vote.
Correct.
To suspend the agenda. Chris Demaroni?
Yes.
Linda Booth?
Yes.
Laura McIntyre?
No.
Vice President McIntosh?
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes, 1 no. Proceed.
Do we need we don't need another motion, we just proceed with discussion on her comments. So September, October, one of the things they said for me was students first, safety first, students first. And I've been bringing up the pothole issue since, well, if not day one, day two. And, we're trying to get that resolved. It's longer than what I thought, but we were trying to partner with the city of Flint. The last time we talked to them, they were willing to pay for the labor to do the work, just as a training type program. And then the district was to pay for all the materials. But that being said, my real concern is about a weapon being brought into the school, even though it was a BB gun, because a BB gun can take someone's eye out or, just different things, do different damage. Metal detectors, I don't know where we stand on that. I think even one of them wand detectors, where someone from, I don't know who it would be, but someone from the district, obviously, at least, or we have security people who could wand the students as they come through the door. I mean, if that's an easier, quicker fix. But with all that's gone on in the country, we need to do better, I think, in our district. I've been to buildings where I don't even know where the main entrance is. The main entrance looks like it's in the front of the building, but it's somewhere in the back next to a receiving dock. And, the potholes it's more than 2 or 3 schools, believe me, been there. But that's all I have to say. Maybe we can get an update on our security system, what we're doing at each school. Is it the same? Is it different? I'm not sure.
Any more discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Mr. Gilbert.
The point I wanted to make was, I wanted to know if I was clear in my hearing that it was homeschool. Is that correct?
Yes.
Homeschool?
Holmes Middle School.
Middle
Holmes
school.
STEM Academy.
Yes. And it's been 3 days in, if I understand the public comment from the professional teacher, that it's 3 days in, and I wanted to know, was that reported to you as the superintendent, to the administration, or what does that look like? I guess that's my main issue and where we are.
So what I will say to the board is that there is some investigation in this that I cannot totally share right now. And if you would like to walk that building with me, I would be happy to take the board into Holmes, and you can see what we have going on in homes as it pertains to security. I will be happy to discuss that on that property so that we can make it make sense to you of what's going on in homes. So I would just end my conversations there. We did speak to the entire school community about parking lots. So I wouldn't want to just go deep into this conversation without being able to, without stepping over a line with certain points of this conversation.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you. Any more comments?
I would just say I'll take you up on that tour. Sure. Whatever, schedule a date and time. Sure. Talk about it.
I'd like to be, let me know.
Any further comments? Seeing no more comments, we'll proceed. Mr. Jones, we have Recon is here. Is the Recon here? I heard we had that one here. Is Recon in the building?
Yep.
Could you come forward?
I'm sorry.
We have Recon in the building that had called, trying to get on the agenda, which was a little too late, but they're here in the city, and they're calling to close out their records of their findings, and we welcome aboard for about, what do we have, 15 minutes? 15 minutes, you can come forward, have a seat. The board has been asking a lot, there's a lot of information about. Yes.
We cannot hear from Lee for months, but we can squeeze him in for 15 minutes on the agenda just out the blue.
Thank you for your point of order. As I stated before, we have been opening this conversation to the public about Recon. And Recon did not make it to this schedule to get on our agenda. He's here. He's a walk-on like we have done in the past with many other. Recon, you have 15 minutes to explain to us your facts finding, because we need to hear some information, and you do what you have to do.
Okay, I'd like to know the point of information from this chair. When will we be hearing from legal, which had 4 supported votes from this board? You have not been able to get her on the agenda, but we have 15 minutes from somebody that's unscheduled who was not voted to come before this board. When will the 4 votes from this board be supported?
Point of order. Point of order. Since when did we have to vote for this to come before?
I didn't say
I just
that.
explained it. However, we can discuss what you're saying at the next, probably when we have our other discussion from the board. No problem. Mr. What's your name again? Introduce yourself.
Mark Palazewski. My understanding was that this was going to be a closed session meeting.
We are, because of the situation with a closed session, I seek a motion that this meeting and those documents, since half the public know about it, half of it don't, I seek a motion from the board that this information be public documents.
Support.
I can't, you have to make a motion, I can't. Somebody from the board have to make a motion.
Okay. I make a motion that the fact finding that's presented by Mark, I'm sorry, to get your last name. Palazewski, be presented in the public instead of a closed meeting.
Is there a second of support?
Point of information, Madam Chair, Madam President, I think it would be wise if we would speak into the mic, we would make ourselves fluid, express ourselves, and make sure that what you want is said so the record is clear. Thank you.
Motion, you said, you support the, you made a motion, is there a second?
It wasn't, I haven't received the support.
It was a point of order. It was a point of information. I was trying to get us so we can be clear in what we're doing. That's all.
Ms. Booth made the motion to bring those, the whole document is not part of it, what the public has, is to bring the whole document and just have a public, make those documents public.
Support.
If it's proper move and support. Are there any discussions?
Madam Chair? Madam
Yes,
President?
Pastor Gilbert.
Now, what documents are we talking about?
His findings, the facts findings.
His fact findings, we're gonna make that public, is that correct? So that means that we can get copies?
Yes, everybody will have copies.
Thank you.
For me, the gentleman indicated that he thought it was going to be closed session for some reason or reasons. And, I mean, I don't know if he feels comfortable with it being made to the public. I'm not even sure what documents we're talking about.
Yeah, traditionally, these are not things that are presented in the public, at least initially. These are subject to attorney-client privilege, and they're not public documents.
I believe, however, speaking to the attorney, because so much of this information has been, I'm answering your question, has been in the public hearing, the public got part of it, they don't have all of it. I was advised that we could get a vote from the public, from the board, if we want that document shared public.
And I should also add, I don't have that document to share to everyone.
But we can send it, but you can just tell us your facts finding if that's comfortable enough for you.
Okay.
Chris Demarone.
Sir, are you an attorney?
No, I am not.
Okay. So, I mean, we can vote all we want yes to make it public, but we're not gonna supersede attorney-client privilege. I mean, that's not gonna happen.
Then, what's your name again? Palazewski. Then the board has the right to vote it down or vote it up. I brought it before the board. That's what we requested, and I got some legal advice how to do that because our closed door environment is so hostile that we can't even do a decent meeting behind closed door. So we have to find some other alternative, how some things we have to do because it's just getting too hostile behind closed door. That was one of the recommendations that we could do to keep from going behind closed door and end up in this hostile environment. And hopefully we can get some training on it. So the board can make a decision tonight. Do you want to continue or do you not want to continue?
If I could make a decision, maybe it would be a better approach to have everyone receive a copy of the report from legal counsel to review, and I come in and be able to answer questions that people are informed and able to ask.
Those copies was emailed from Recon. They were sent and we emailed them to everybody. Did everybody get a copy?
So everyone has.
Everybody has that copy. That was one of the first things that we did. That's why so much miscommunications in the public. Everybody has that copy. And it's been leaked out into the public back and forth, but we brought you here to clear things up as it relates to the board. But every board member has that copy from Recon. That was one of the things that we made sure.
So help me with my understanding. So Recon did some investigation on some matter, and you're here tonight representing Recon?
Correct. I'm the person from Recon that conducted the investigation and drafted the report.
And what would be important to us is to explain what is Recon and how did we ended up with Recon. And that's just open information. It's not if the board wishes. You've been asking about Recon. You asked a lot of questions. The public have been hearing about Recon. The gentleman is here. The company is here. And this is your opportunity to get answers. Pastor Gilbert?
Yes. Madam President, was this board action that was taken and approved by the board?
This was not a board action taken approved by the board because it was, let me finish.
No, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. That's what I want to know. Was it board action which would make it legal? Now, if it was something else, then we're in a bad spot. And so, number one, we need to make sure that it was done properly and legal. That's the first thing, because we have I understand an attorney.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
He's not an attorney.
I am not.
Okay, so
Point of
he's an investigator.
information, please. Point of information. This firm was brought as a non-biased, has no interest on either side, the board nor the administration. The administration charged the board. People was leaving and quitting and saying that due to hostile environment from the board. So the board can't vote against itself, and I went and contacted attorney, what is the best way to do this? The board is not going to vote against themselves. We got administrations quitting and saying that it's a hostile work environment. So when I went to the attorney, you get this is a fact-finding investigation team. They're not attorney, they made that clear. They work for districts throughout Michigan, I believe. And this is what they do when we get into these hostile work environment and you're caught between a rock and a hard place, is to make sure, is these facts, is this true what they're saying? Because you got one side saying this, one side saying that. I don't know. Then they prompt this, they call them the recon, facts finding investigation. Their job is to see, because these are some serious things charged against this board. Are these things true? From administrative, could be from both sides. I don't know. But that is what their job is to do, to say, did we really do these things? Facts finding. They call and he'll tell you the process. It's nothing like you're going to jail or anything like that. They probably recommend training. I didn't know, but that is what we had to do to resolve this from the administration point, because the administration was claiming they was quitting. There was a hostile environment. And so it was a lot of hostile environment complaints coming through. And that's how I got to this point as the board president. And then we didn't ask for the board wouldn't approve to pay for somebody charging them. So the superintendent has discretionary fee of $5,000, and they use that to protect or investigate the superintendent and the board. We have to protect everybody's rights on both sides. He's getting a lot of complaints, and there was only one way we do this, is to go out, and I was introduced to, never heard of recon before, but he can tell you about what they do with school district when people are charging employees or board member or whatever facts. He gets this data and determine whether they're facts. I can't explain it all in detail, and I've been telling the board about this for a very long time. I've been bringing it up. We get charged for a hostile work environment. What is hostile? And so that's why we ended up, that's why we ended up where we are. So the board have to make a decision. Do you want to hear, do you want to hear the facts, or do you want to do something else?
Madam President, I would also,
I
would also like to enter into the record that not all board members were interviewed because of whatever the time slots were. I was never interviewed, never. And because I put in 2 time slots, and that could not be addressed, I could not be fit in, and I want that to be known that Trustee Gilbert was not interviewed by recon or whoever does that for their company. I want that to be understood and clear. And so that is part of my problem with this. But it is up to the board. If this is what they want, then so let it be. Thank you.
Point of information, my understanding that it wasn't mandatory that you be interviewed if you felt like that you have been in that type of environment, you felt like you had something to say about, the interview process, I don't know what their process was. You had to write, they sent out emails, and then you could respond.
Well, the reason I did not do that, because I was uncomfortable with that. I wanted to either talk with someone or look somebody in their eyes, face to face. My grandmother taught me that you look in an individual's eyes, it's to bear to their soul. And that's what I know, and that's what I have always been able to do. I like to look people in their eye and know where they're coming from, so they will know where I'm coming from. And I just want to make that part of the record.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Are there any more comments in this round?
I'll just mention, I also did not go through the interview process for a variety of reasons. I wasn't familiar with really where, how the information was going to be used and disseminated. So.
And that was just a choice. I don't think it was looking for anybody, because I don't know exactly what it all was about. And I appreciate the board. We got the public hanging on edge. They got some information they done, and Recon is coming here to expound on that. So once again, are we done with the discussion? We can take a vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Ms. McIntosh.
Mr. Mark, I guess, from Recon did reach out to me, and I told him I would be willing to speak with him once he spoke to the board attorney, which evidently he didn't do, but in his findings he said that I refused to speak with him, which was a flat-out lie. And now I'm discovering that several board members were not even interviewed, but in this investigation that was not voted on by the board. So I want to know who voted on it. It seems like the only people that were investigated were me and Ms. Green.
That is not true. It might appear as the result. And it also stated, you know, even your board president, your board attorney was a part of...
Sharice Lee is the board's attorney. She was not.
Excuse me. She had the opportunity if she wanted, but she was the attorney. And some of the charges that they was claiming she was part of it. And it created, she was a conflict of interest in this investigation.
How was she a conflict of interest?
Do you have to see the report?
No,
I don't have the report.
Well,
That's why we are here.
Excuse me, ma'am, because you did give me the floor.
Yes, I did.
I
Yes,
want you to understand, this is a legal investigation. This board did not vote for an investigation. For one. For two, when the administration have an issue with the board, they have a right to come before the full board. And then the full board deals with, yes, that's the policy. Then the full board deals with this. Anytime you got the administration have a problem, period, they have a right to come before the full board, not just the president. So the fact that only a few board members were contacted and allowed to participate in this investigation, and then the fact that me and Ms. Green were absolutely slandered in this investigation is a defamation of character to me. And then when you say I refuse to meet with you, and I sent you an email and have receipts saying I absolutely will meet with you, but the protocol is to go before the full board and to do it openly. See, that's the first thing, the OMA, Open Meeting Act. If you're going to investigate anybody on this, yes ma'am, you have to take it before the board. Well, I'll let you know this. We're going to find out, because I will be suing the district behind this. And I'm filing charges tomorrow against Flint School District and Recon. Because you didn't have 4 votes to investigate me, and everybody on the board did not have the opportunity to participate.
Point of information again. Once again, this whole investigation started with a complaint filed against the board. I have been talking to this board about these complaints.
You have to discuss that in an open meeting.
But I did. You just refused to answer. The complaint.
In an open meeting?
I told you it before. Last time we was in a closed door meeting, we can't even have a decent closed door meeting. You threaten to meet people. The issue is, I got legal advice on how to handle this process. If Mr. Jones wants to chime in because it came from administration, how do we get where we at? You can welcome to do that. Every board member had an opportunity to respond to the complaint. It's a complaint. Did we actually violate policy?
Madam President.
Did we? And that was the complaint.
If you will, Whether we violated policy or not, you have to discuss that with the full board. No one member is privy to information that another member is not. Yes, I've been here long enough, I know the policies and I know the rules. Yes, ma'am.
Point of information, again.
Show me that document.
Point of
That you
information.
can investigate somebody on this board.
You
without-
investigated, you did investigation.
Who I investigated?
And that's what the whole thing, you did illegal
Who did I
investigation.
investigate?
But I'm not gonna argue with you on that.
Okay.
The board has to make a decision.
You're not making,
The
that's
board
not
has
a
to
true
make,
statement.
point of order, please. Okay,
This is a board meeting, not a one-on-one.
Thank you.
So let's get moving.
I'm being false.
We're not gonna do this one-on-one like this tonight.
Excuse me, if it's district business, I have a right to address.
I understand, Carol. I understand, Carol. We have a lot of business to do, and we're not talking about students tonight.
When I say point of order, all conversation have to cease. This is not a place to have the floor and to battle. We have a person here that did a fact-finding investigation. Either you want to hear those facts or you don't.
I don't, because they ain't facts.
And I just said, look in your face. However, the board as a whole, we was in the process of taking a vote. Do you want to hear these facts? Do you want these facts? And Mr. what's your name again? Ooh, that's a big name. Would present to us what's the best way to do this. With respect. But if the board does not want to do this, we're not going to go back and forth. I need to get a consensus from the board. Mr. Gibbons,
Thank you. I'll be voting no on this to make it open to the public for at least these two reasons. One is the email that was sent to us said privileged, confidential, /work product.
Yes, it is.
Number two, the gentleman here before us this evening, he was mentioned about attorney-client privilege, and I'm not going to put him in a position to give up some attorney's client privilege information. So I'll be voting no to make this open to the public. If we wanted to go into closed session, I have no problem with that. He has indicated that is what he was expecting tonight. So that's where I'm a no on this.
We will take a roll call vote.
Madam
President, I call for the question.
The call for the question is, are we going forward with this? We are going to discuss, we are trying to get a vote. We suspended the question, we're done debating on this matter. The next process will be, is it a yea or nay? That's what I'm trying to get to, Mr. Gibbons. I might be getting some bit different, but I know how you feel. Call for the vote. Delmarine?
No.
Linda Booth? No. Ms. Laura McIntyre? Yes. Alan Gibbard?
No.
Carol McIntosh?
No.
George McPherson, yes. Little Bell? For no, 2 yes. Thank you very much, and we can, that take over the way it's coming. Oh, excuse me.
That you move the meeting with.
Mark is good.
To a closed discussion as
Support.
recommends.
Support, it is moved.
I'll let Commissioner Hope.
Yes. With
Secretary, did we get support on
Support, yep.
that? It is moved and it is second. To move to a closed door. Seeing no other discussions. We would do so by roll call vote, as I call your name, yea or nay. Chris Cameron.
Yay.
Linda Booth.
Yes.
Laura Reinhardt.
Yes.
Trustee Gibbert.
Yes.
Trustee Karen McIntosh.
No.
Joyce Ellis McGill, that's a yes. 5 yes, 1 no. Passes. I now turn the floor over to Mr. Gibbert. Oh, we going on? Yes. I thought you wanted to update, I should ask you about update. Okay, let's go into closed session.
To do this? We got session 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, 15 to 20 minutes. Yes, I think you should come in and take the minutes.
point of information to the board, there was a closed session meeting, it was not for the public, and we have to put it on the record that we advise you that it was a closed door meeting and the information is not to be released to the public, but we put it out there. I now turn the floor over to Mr. Gilbert for the Human Resource Committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to call the Human Resource Committee of the whole meeting to order. I will now call upon Superintendent Jones to present the actions to the board.
Good evening. I seek a motion and a second from the board to move resolution 1.5, personnel recommendations to the regular board meeting on August 17th for adoption.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Madam President.
Yes, I'm sorry. Page number 3, I want to make sure that everybody got that correction. Item B, the last name at the bottom, PL. Did you guys get the correction for that page?
Is that step 1? Okay.
Another question I do have, is that the living care position you guys are filling?
Yes. We are at the position of LSS Director, and we're currently interviewing for.
Seeing no further discussion? Treasurer McIntyre.
Yes, the interim position for LSS Director is the position that we're interviewing for. It was recently we lost our LSS Director and we need an interim for this time period to ensure that the work is being completed.
Okay, and there's just a correction.
Correction on the pen.
And this is the correction?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Is this an in-house?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Trustee Giordano.
Yeah, thank you. So the director, let's say the current director who's left, what was his or her history?
They were at that step 3 that was in your binder, and that was the error. So they were in group 3 at step 3 when they exited. They have been with the district for over 8 years.
And what was that pay scale?
I'm sorry, can you speak up?
What was that pay scale?
It's the one that's in your packet. So the one that you see on page 3, that is where that person exited.
At the 95?
Yes, sir.
This will pay 90. What is the starting pay for this position?
That is the starting pay, the step 1.
So higher officer
With the experience, if they have the experience, that we know when they will get it, but it is posted at that pay. That is a union position, and so we're mandated based on the union scales for that position.
So the contract covers it and.
Correct.
And the next person hired will be, I mean, the contract says you need to pay $90,000.
Correct.
Next question I have, are we giving this person any incentive at this price to come here? Are we giving them an incentive for this position? I've been hearing something about incentive pay. You can correct me. If my understanding, I hear that it's $5,000 for administration, incentive pay, and $3,000 incentive pay for teachers.
I think you're referring to the recruiting bonus, and that is for teachers for administrators, and because it is grant provided, it only is for those that are directly correlated with students. And this position wouldn't necessarily qualify for that, but that isn't this what we're looking at. This is a change of assignment. So this person is just an interim while we're interviewing to fulfill the LSS director role. Does that make sense? So are they receiving a bonus? This person we're discussing? Yes. No, this is a change of assignment. This person already works for the district.
Right, I understand it's a change of assignment. I wanted to be clear to her that there's not a bonus, because I just heard from you, it's a change of assignment, which is a different answer. But thank you.
Trustee Gilmore?
Thank you. So you used the term that they wouldn't necessarily be. Did you mean to say they are not or will not?
Well,
Let me speak to this, Mikey. She doesn't qualify for that money. She will not be receiving that money. And any person that comes in at this position will not be receiving that figure that was spoken of earlier. We're trying to fill the position of the director of LSS, and what we're currently asking for is to have an interim of someone that's already in the department that can keep us moving and keep us compliant while we're interviewing.
So no incentive, no bonus, no stay here for so long, you get no extra money, no nothing.
No. Extra bonuses are over.
I just feel like I need to ask Paul as many questions as I can.
this is just a change of assignment. It is a recommendation for a new hire.
Right, but they're speaking of the person that's going to come in. And so
I've heard anybody, whoever fills this position.
Right, I understand. So the person that fills the position, after we go through the hiring process, will come in with a union contract from Congress. We'll follow the union contract from Congress. There is no extra bonus or bonus for being hired in this position.
Go ahead, great.
Is the person, so this is not, but the person who eventually be hired as the permanent director, will they be receiving a hiring bonus?
No.
Okay.
Seeing no further discussion? Motion to approve resolution 1.5, personnel recommendation will be conducted by roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this action. Trustee Green is absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer Gilmore,
Yes.
Secretary Booth,
Yes.
Treasurer McIntyre,
Yes.
President McNeil,
Yes.
Vice President McIntosh is absent. Myself, Trustee Gilbert, is yes. Motion passes. A vote of 5 yes and 0 no. Superintendent Jones?
Let me get myself together. I seek a motion and second from the board to move resolution 1.6, acceptance of proposal for HR recruiter position to the regular board meeting on August 17, 2022 for adoption.
So moved.
It's been properly moved.
Support.
And seconded. Is there any discussion? Trustee Gilmore?
So we've been putting on all these job fairs and whatnot. I would would think this might be something that this position would cover.
Correct.
Who was with them?
So technically, there were open interviews. So if people showed up, someone would conduct them. We did not technically have people show up for those. But who? Right? Okay.
But the job fairs before you came, they were done by the HR manager, and we pulled our benefits person to stop with benefits to go and do these 3 job fairs. And so we emptied out our HR department, and they had to stop doing some other things in order to do that, which did cause some issues that we handled internally. But we pulled the people from HR and a couple folks, a couple secretaries to go help with the job fair.
Okay, so is this a new position?
Technically, yes. It isn't an additional box to the human resource structure though.
It's not a what?
It is an additional box. So we're not, yeah. So it is not an additional allotment of money. Basically what we're suggesting, what I suggested in the packet, was that the person who is currently doing our benefits and our onboarding and our postings, we discussed this in the HR subcommittee as well. This person would assume our HR manager role, which is vacant. So she would be appointed and assigned, and she would keep her benefits responsibilities so that we could allot for a recruiter.
Well, to make it simple for me, I'm voting no on this. So the money's been allocated for this position, but it just hasn't been filled, and it's a new position? And someone else is doing the work?
No, so in the packet, what I did was I outlined for you, if you look on
Page 8 and 9.
Yep, on page 8 and 9, you will see what currently exists and what I'm proposing. Okay? So this is a proposal, this is a request. What currently what happened in the HR department was when the HR manager assumed executive director responsibilities, she moved posting, recruiting, interviewing setup to our benefits person. So right now, our benefits person is currently doing posting positions, setting up interviews, making offers, and onboarding new hires. She's currently doing all of that work. So what I am suggesting is that the vacant position that we have in the HR manager, she would assume the HR manager responsibilities, and there's a job description in the packet. And instead of doing recruiting, she would do benefits, and the recruiting would go on a role by itself.
Madam President.
I guess I'm concerned is that, first of all, we're trying to make these here higher decisions based on just her art chart that she put together, which does not line up with the budget. We normally have to make sure that when we're bringing people on and doing things, that is our position chart that we're looking for lines up with the budget. In the past, your HR person that just left was doing all of these positions, pretty much was doing the recruiting position. Am I correct?
I'm not sure what she was doing.
You're talking about the last mentor, or the clear, or are you talking about this room? Okay, all right, gotcha. No, that's not correct. She wasn't. We were attempting to do some of these roles and get these things done with less staff, but we didn't get a chance to do this in a way that would have recruited staff the way we should. So that's why we want to kind of restructure that, but we're not asking for more money from the district. We're not asking for more money from the district. It hasn't fallen on deaf ears, even with our conversation that we had recently about the analysis that the board is asking for. So we're not asking for more money, but in our district, there's going to be some positions that we are trying to even eliminate and give those duties to other folks as we begin to try to operationally get in line. But we can't have 2 people doing the work of 4 people. So we have to try to restructure within the confines of our budget and what has already been approved. And that's what we're doing. We're not working outside that budget. We're still in the budget that's been approved. We're trying to restructure to use our people wisely.
So when we look at this executive, you have to have a need. And recruiter proposed post. What is the funds coming from?
B means blended. So that means that position will blended, blended. So your GF means general funds. So those are letters that are typically on the organizational chart. That means that the position is funded general fund, right? So previously, if you look at page 9, you'll see that the benefits position was general fund. The recruiter position is able to be blended, meaning that we can pull from the Title II grant because the Title II grant calls for, any questions?
No, I'm reading.
Okay.
When you start from,
Yeah, the Title II allows for recruiting. It allows for funds to be allowed for recruiting. And so the position would then be able to be blended. But again, we're not asking for additional funds at all because we're not technically adding a position. I'm just asking to call the box a different title and give it different responsibilities.
Actually, you're not doing that. I mean, you're being funded in different ways. So now the HR manager is general fund, not funded. This is really confusing. It's like comparing apples and oranges, not apples and apples. And I was under the understanding that I thought the previous interim HR director was working on eliminating the HR manager position entirely. I thought there was an attempt to reduce the number of positions, not shuffle around job duties and create a new job position in and of itself. So this doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Okay, so that wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to work.
It doesn't, I guess, that needed to be a conversation though. Like it was, we never got to that. We still need a job analysis. This is exactly why we need a job analysis because this is, if it's not going to work, then we need to show why it's not going to work.
We discussed it in depth at the HR subcommittee meeting.
And I wasn't invited, I wasn't included in the emails to the HR subcommittee meeting.
I'm sorry?
I didn't.
Okay, so I want to finish if I can finish my statement. It's okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So I want to bring it back to what we're asking for, what we need. We have 40-some vacancies, and I, as a superintendent, need someone working on recruitment, but I also need someone running the district and doing benefits and handling the staffing of the district. There's several things that we need in our day-to-day work, and we're not asking this board for any extra funding. We're trying to manage the district. And so if we need to explain it better, we need to explain it better, but we need what we need to do what we need to do. And so this is what we need. So if we're saying that you don't understand the funding sources, please say let us know exactly what you don't understand about what we need.
I think what we're trying to say is that the teachers and the union, everybody's taking some type of cut in the session. And on the operations side, on the administration side, I think what the board is trying to say, we need to see some type of cost reduction somewhere. And from the looks of it, you're constant, I know we have both vacancies, but I don't even see how we're going to try to fill 47 vacancies. And Ken and I just started to say, well, we have some answer finally got this, and we are already at $20 million in rating of operational costs. How are we going to justify? I know we're not sitting up here talking about, I'm going to get we need 47 vacancy filled, and we're still running we haven't been able to reduce some of these expenses that we have. We can't ask the teachers in the union for nothing else. No, they can't give up nothing else. So they're looking at on this side of the fence where we sit at, what are we doing to reduce this cost? And I used to use this term double dutch. In the past, we had one person with doing 2 or 3 jobs, doing it all. Now we're doing it all. So now we're coming back and we're restructuring. And you said it's not going to cost anything. It always costs something. It's not going to be free down the road because you have your age in this. I don't even understand the organization's part. But it just would have been a lot better if we're going to train ourselves to operate. If we're trying to a job analysis lines up with the budget, and I like to look at that. But now you come up with this here, this is what I present to the HR, and I don't even think they quite understand exactly what this is and what you're trying to understand. So we got to make a decision, what are we going to do here? Because it's kind of, are you saying you have 47 vacancies right now that you're trying to fulfill? And we have about less than, we have like 3,000 some students here, and we're still trying to fulfill 47 vacancies. Is that what you're saying?
So we have 40 some vacancies that we are still trying to fill.
Which one are most on that?
Like I spoke earlier, we have a lot of LSS. We have teacher vacancies. We have several teacher vacancies at homes that we're trying to fill. This is how we're trying to handle that, to have a recruiter and get these positions filled. Even as we were talking about what teachers are giving up, we just were in negotiations where the board's already determined that we are trying to make things right with teachers. We're in Congress negotiations currently. So it seems like we're saying we want less people to manage because we're asking teachers to do. I don't understand that, Board President. But what I'm saying to you is, as we look at our district and how we're operating, we are looking at areas where we're falling short. And we're looking at areas where we need to work some things out. We have some positions coming through that we want to vacate and try to give those duties to others. I stated that a little bit earlier. So we're looking at positions that we can eliminate, but we also have to look at positions that we need to reorganize. And that's what we're doing, is trying to reorganize and eliminate some positions. I haven't brought you those positions yet because I still have to talk to staff members that would be willing to take on some of those other duties in other departments. So we're bringing this because we need someone to work on recruiting and have a focus in that area. So when we drop the work we're doing day to day to go send someone recruit, or go send someone out to sit at a table, or go send someone out to other places. There is work that is piling up that's not being done, and we're having staff that is really getting to the edge of the amount of work that's on their plate. And so I don't bring you all of the things that we're dealing with day to day as far as my concern, because we're handling it. And this is one way that we're trying to handle that, is make sure that we identify how we can reorganize some things to ensure that there's equal work across the board, and we're not stressing one person or two people as it pertains to those that work in our departments.
So is there any way you could provide the board those vacancies where they are, and you do that up for you something, and let us know, where they are, who they are, is that possible? Just say, I'm sorry. What I was asking is, could there be some type of list of these 47 vacancies, where they are, how many is where and where, and that will help us make a decision since we don't have that, job analysis organization chart.
So you want a list of our vacancies?
Yeah, kind of like detail, like there's so many teachers, so many paralegals.
So we
I
can
know
do
we're
a
short of teachers.
We can do a list of our vacancies for sure.
And, okay, if you could just, with the board, be satisfied, put in the capital, what we're looking for.
I want to know how that's going to help
It would help me.
answer the question of, do we need a recruiter?
Trustee Gilmore?
I don't know if it'll help or not, but I think the list is good. But I would not want to see that we just need 5 teachers. It's elementary, it's high school, you need to have specialization in science as opposed to math. But back to this, so we're trying to move from the chart on page 8 to the chart on page 9. And right now we have, excluding the executive director, we have 3 people employed there.
We have 2. We have a vacancy. HR manager is vacant.
Okay. And we're trying to move 3 and fill that human resource manager position.
Yes.
So if there is no one there right now, no one is being paid. Is that correct?
That's not correct. Payroll, it reports to the business office.
But if there's not a human resource manager on page 8, there's not one there, and then we put one in, then in the first case, we're not paying anyone because no one's there. Or what am I missing?
Oh, you're saying you're not paying for that position, so you haven't paid since the previous person vacated in July. Correct. So one of the things that we discussed in subcommittee when we discussed the proposal was that typically we receive a lot of questions about recruiting. And recruiting is a technical position. Posting positions is not recruiting, because recruiting means that we are going to initiate the relationship with the candidate pool. We're going to look for people that may not necessarily be looking for us. We are currently posting positions in one place or 2 places that are free or we pay the GISD for, and we're typically not getting applicants. What a recruiter does is not just manage job fairs, but a recruiter comes up with a talent management strategy and looks for people that may not be looking for us. So right now what we're doing is we are gathering vacancies, we're gathering information on what is needed, we're posting the positions. This person has to review every single candidate to see who's eligible or not, schedule every single interview. Many positions call for more than one interview with every single person. Then they have to send offers, receive responses if the person has a different offer, receive rejected offers. Then they have to onboard and prepare information for these tasks. Right now, the person that's doing that is responsible for benefits. It's not her job, technically. And she's been doing it for quite some time because it was given to her by the previous HR manager. And so from the general fund to blended is because technically what we did was the reason why the HR manager was blended before was because she had recruiting responsibilities that she wasn't responsible for. So if we move that to an actual recruiter position, then we can say, this is our recruiting strategy. This is what we're doing. This is the result of actually recruiting people. But right now, all we're doing is posting and responding to people who apply to us. We're not actively recruiting. And so what I'm trying to do for this department is to say, this is how many people have been, this is how many positions are approved by this board. Instead of adding a position for recruiter, how about we change the responsibilities? So the person who is currently doing benefits has been with the district more than 20 years, is willing to take that responsibility along with the staffing and the other responsibilities as some are listed on page 8. And it would allow for that money from that benefits position to be changed in name and responsibility. That's what we're requesting.
So, you just told us that I know, you said someone was doing someone left in July, and someone's doing that job. Have they been doing it for a month?
No, that's not what I said. The person who's been doing benefits, who's been doing posting, onboarding, interview, scheduling, all of those things, I don't know how long she's been doing it. She was assigned to do that work by HR manager, probably as long as the previous HR manager was doing portions of this job that I currently have now. Right? So the previous HR manager was interim HR director, right? Does that make sense? So when she took on more responsibility to be the interim me, she shifted responsibility. So the last HR executive director left almost 2 years ago. Do you understand? So it's just like everything that happens. When a person leaves, somebody takes on some of those responsibilities, they take on more work, and they shift those responsibilities down the river, right? And so this person has probably been doing that since the last HR director left. Does that make sense? And I'm just assuming, I don't know how long she's really been doing it. I'm just trying to make some legitimacy to her doing the recruiting responsibilities that were the HR manager's job.
How many people did you say have been hired from our job fairs?
I didn't say that wasn't a question.
How many people have been hired through our job fairs?
I don't know. The job fairs didn't happen when I was here.
From the job fairs that we put on, we've interviewed about 5 or 6 candidates, but we have not been able to hire from that pool of people that we had with the windows that we had open for job fairs at Southwestern and yes, Southwestern Academy.
And how much did that program cost the district with the billboards and whatever else?
We didn't pay anything for those job fairs. We had them. We used our own printers and everything to put things out. We used our PR firm to put information out. And we had a lot of candidates that showed up that was not qualified.
Okay, so training costs for PR firm did it for free.
Well, it's part of their job to do that work. But that what we put on did not yield the results that we were looking for. So again, that's why we're strategizing to come up with how are we going to handle recruitment to target an audience. And so that's what we're doing. So right now, I try not to go into details of how people are feeling that are doing these multiple positions and what they're bringing to the administration to say, this is not working, and I can't continue to do this. So I try to not pull all of that into the conversation. I try to give you what we need, let you know why we need it, and try to get you to understand that without giving you too much information that will put other people on the spot that works for the district. But we're hemorrhaging in some areas. We're trying to take care of it. We're trying to find a way to take care of it that doesn't cost the district any more than it's budgeted for the district in these positions. And so that's why we try to reorganize. It is true, as I spoke to the board president earlier today, it is true that after hearing the board, we have to put in the next couple of weeks what the board has requested to try to put the analysis together to assure that the board has the org chart the way that it's been asked for and it was presented in 2021. And so we're getting that template, we're going to put that together that way, but we still need to operate and do the business of the district, and we still need a recruiter. So that's all I have for this.
Trustee Rockett. Thank you, Trustee York. Thank you for that input, Superintendent Jones and Ms. Caroline. Well, I can appreciate the frustrations of having job descriptions, job assignments, and duties that need to be taken care of within the scope of your employment. One of the reasons why I've been asking over and over again for a different type of job analysis and that type of information, which has not yet been forthcoming, and not necessarily through the fault of anyone who is here, but because there's a lack of institutional memory in terms of who had what jobs and what job descriptions. There's a little bit, but it's not comprehensive, it's not organized, and this is what the board is asked for, to be passed down. So, on the one hand, we have to go back and say, who are you talking about? Are you talking about an HR manager? Are you talking about the former one? Are you talking about the interim one? I mean, there's so many people who've passed through this position, and a lot of the information has been lost and slipped up, which is why we need a job analysis. In that time frame, including the time before I was on the board, our district has been hemorrhaging and shrinking. And I know that we've been tasked, and we need to downsize our district accordingly, including the administration, including the budget, to go with the shrinking enrollment. That's just a fact. It's a physical fact. And it was my understanding, as a member sitting in the audience, before I got elected, and then once I was elected, that there would be work to trim down this umbrella, to actually work to synthesize the jobs and/or positions and/or responsibilities that were underneath these ones. I thought that's the direction that we're moving in. And it looks like that we are. It looks like this is an effort to do this. However, we still need that comprehensive information so that we're all working on the same page. I sincerely do not want anyone in the staff or administration frustrated. But we're all frustrated because we're all working with a very difficult situation. So it's not, the board approving or not approving this isn't going to necessarily address staff frustration. The frustration stems from a systemic problem in that our district is getting smaller, our enrollment is declining, we're facing budget deficits, we're in a pending budget deficit that we have to be very acutely aware of. We have to consolidate jobs and job positions. Nobody likes that. We have to look at the teachers took pay cuts and pay freezes and really, I think, did more than their fair share. We have to look at economies on all sides. And I can't vote for this right now because I still don't
understand, and I am a very intelligent person, so it's not that I don't understand how recruiting works or how HR works or any of that, right? But I don't understand the specificities of our district, and with all due respect, I don't think that anybody here also has the full picture, because we have had such a high rate of turnover with board members, with superintendents, with all sorts of things that are beyond our control. So I'm not looking to blame anybody, right? So I get the frustration. I'm frustrated too, but I'm balancing how much work has to be done with how much money we have to pay people. And right now, this, to me, doesn't make it enough of an argument to justify the changes that are being asked for. Even though I would love to give everybody what they want, and to, reduce the workload, increase the pay, because that's what everybody deserves. Absolutely, I'm not, against that. But this district right now can't afford to do that, at least in my opinion. And maybe I could be presented with more evidence that it would change my mind, but at this point, I can't approve this with the information that's been provided.
I'm going to say one more thing. And I'll thank you for Treasurer. Thank you for presenting that. And that I understand. I do. And I appreciate you putting focus on the work that the folks are doing. This is a trickle-down effect. So I got teachers, I got parapros covering classrooms, I have behavior specialists going in and covering when teachers can't. I have teachers taking on more scholars than they ought to take on. It's costing us, whether you believe it or not, when a teacher that's supposed to have 28 has 32. When the teacher that's supposed to have 25 has 30. You're paying for that. You're paying that teacher extra every time it happens. And so these frustrations don't come from just central office. These frustrations are in UTF meetings, are in Congress meetings, are in parapro meetings, that we're doing all this extra work because we don't have the staff we need. And so I'm not bringing this to you because we want to make things easier for ourselves. We're bringing things to you because our staff is crying out from, I don't want to say out, I'll say from one side of the city to the other side of the city. And they're crying out and saying, we can't continue to work like this. And so that's why we're saying we need to target going to get our people, because that's what's happening. We're getting poached. We're getting poached from other districts that have recruiters. They're poaching, they're coming to get our people, they're offering them things, and they're walking out the door. If you look at that list of teachers that's leaving, if you look at that list, you'll see that we're losing as it pertains to keeping our staff. Now, I understand that the point that's being made as it pertains to the org, and I will only because we need to do something about it ASAP. And we spoke about that this morning. I just want you to think about the fact that this is not something that's just, we're asking to do something at the top or at the central office. We're paying for this regardless, because every scholar over the number in the union contract, you have to pay for that. And every time a parapro have to go into a classroom, you pay for that as well, on top of their regular salary. And so we're paying for it anyway. So why not target someone to handle this so we can have everyone in their respective places? So that's all I'll say, and I'm going to go with whatever the board decides. This is a token conversation, so thank you.
Madam President. As it relates to recruiting, and I've been doing a lot of research and going back and looking at how some district, has gotten, it's challenging out there. There's no joke about that. And that's a hard deal when, but, look at some district that, looked at other ways of recruiting, getting the right teachers or finding the right person to come in those classrooms. When we start talking about recruiting, I'm not talking about your church buddies or somebody that knows somebody. That person will have to come in here with a track record to be able to recruit. Not sit up here, they got to know what they're doing, they got to know how to get out there and get the job done. But they're not coming here we're not doing any bonuses and incentives right about now because we're struggling. But they have to come in here and prove themselves worthy. Because you look at our district, they are recruiting. And they are addressing some hard issues. There is, that's why I said that your payroll, it should be at $11 and getting what an extra $25 or $30 going to the classroom. And that should be fun and real. Sometimes it might be in a week's at a time. And is it the child fault? No. But we just have a hiring problem. So we just have to look at how do we make people want to perform that we do have. But this recruiter that you're looking at, this board wants to be able to vet this person. And bring folks in and not doing reference. We need to vet them because we're in a very serious. And I would like to see this get done. But we got to have somebody that get out there, boots on the ground, and come in with track record. How are we going to get this done? Because we're surrounded by competition. And we're surrounded. And parents are looking at how we're choosing our teachers. But in the meantime, you recruit somebody with a bachelor or master's degree until you get that teacher now, and that teacher works with that person until you get that point. You have yourself a pretty good teacher. I was a good guest teacher because over at home, Mr. Jones and those teachers worked with me. It's killed them. I was successful at Lower Rider because the principals and a guest teacher was able to outperform regular teachers, but I couldn't do it without the support of those certified teachers. So we're going to have to look very hard until we get to that point. How we recruit the teachers that come in the classroom that we do have. And sometimes parents are really good. Because peer respect and the behavior is more important than anything. You respect that parent. So I'm kind of torn with it because the way that you're coming at us with this, I don't like it. But at the same time, we should have been out there just 2 or 3 days ago recruiting, and not nobody's fault, because it's just been an issue, and it is constantly growing. Teachers are walking away. Teachers are walking away. So even if you can't get a teacher, a recruiter should be able to find somebody out there and have a good track record. It will make sense. So there's no easy way around this.
Trustee Elmore?
Thank you. We've heard for quite some time we're top heavy and the amount they get paid and whatnot. And I've often said, whether Northwestern superintendent, but in a school district, any school district, maybe the average pay is whatever, let's say $170,000 a year, or for a mayor, it's $170,000 a year. And that might be a fair wage to pay someone in that position, the correct pay. But the problem is that you can't afford it. You can't afford it, so you can't hire that person if that's what they expect you to pay. You need to hire someone for $120,000. And hopefully they can make an improvement in a struggling district or a struggling city. And then that's where they then move on to, say, bigger and better things. A larger school district, they've proven themselves that they can straighten out whatever it might be, budgets, attendance. So I think that's one of the positions we're in. Can we afford it? I'm for allocating that money somewhere else, without the position. I don't see a line at the ad building of people lining up to sign up for any particular position. That's evident from the openings we have. So, you know, I don't know. That's all. I'll be working on it.
Well, I would like to weigh in on listening to my colleagues very closely and intently. And I try to weigh it out as to whether it will push the district into a position where it's overextended, it's ballooned even further than where it already is. And the thing that I think about mostly is that they're leaving the district, and the combination of it, of the blended part, is the part that helped me to see it a little clearer. And then during the subcommittee, it was brought forward to us that it would not add any balloon to the general fund. And so that was key to me, because somebody, this individual, that will come in and receive this employment in our district, I still think in my mind that I want to trust the administration that they're able to perceive that when they interview those individuals. Because we need someone that is committed and has that charismatic way that's beyond the norm, because there is so much competition. And no one really wants to come to our district because we don't have any money to pay. And they might want to come. So it is a tough balancing act as far as being a fiduciary and yet keeping the district moving forward. Even if I'm not here in 3 or 4 5. It's important, because at the same time we have to be fiduciaries, and I think one of my colleagues talked about that. But I think that also we got to look at, you can't go forward if you constantly cannot get what you need to just take increment small steps of progress. And I think sometimes, myself, I want to see big stuff done in a hurry. I really do. And maybe because it'll make me feel good, I don't know. But this conversation that we had is really, really good, because it's going to help us to build the administration's Callaway superintendent. But at the same time, we got to be able to say, well, then what do we want the district to do? How do we get there? And if we stay stuck there, in other words, and I know my colleagues will disagree, and that's okay, and I think that's good. There's a little bit of risk involved. And sometimes when it's risk involved, you're going on mere speculation. But here, I was able to see, in the way I looked at it, is that it was blended. It wasn't something that was basically added on top of an already exploding budget or a deficit, so to speak. And I believe in this Callaway. I think that that's what we hired to do, is to be creative and to be able to come back and prove that it will not balloon any more deficits. So for me, I feel that the district needs to be streamlined as well. And it's been going on. I had one of my colleagues talk for a long, long time. And we've got to address these issues with those analysis. That would help us be able to see that much more clear. And Superintendent Jones said he's trying to get that together. And we'd like to have it yesterday. That's what we need to do. But I just want to see the district be able to go get some of these jewels, some of these diamonds that's out there that we haven't quite yet been able to locate. And this is what I see this recruiter being able to do. And if they cannot, then it is on the board. And it is on the administration that we messed up. It is. But let's just say, and I'll shut it down, is that this individual will be the person that we exactly need for the time. Because the recruiting part is you got to be able to go out there and persuade people to come to a district, come to a city, come to a school board, the Flint Community School Board, the Flint Community, City Council. It's a lot more. And that person has to have some qualities and some abilities that gets beyond all of that in order to go recruit someone that isn't even thinking about coming to Flint. So I differ with my colleagues. I'm going to vote yes on this because I think it's critical. I don't want to see it balloon either, so I have to trust this. This is the thing that I have to do. And so that's my part. Madam President.
I was sitting here thinking, we know we need recruiters, and I kind of mentioned this to Mr. Jones, in order to get this recruiter fired up and ready to go. If we just say, rather than just throwing out incentives and stuff, if we just say, hey, some type of commission, or maybe salary plus the commission, or however we want to do it, just to see, get out there, give us what we need, and then look at some type of commission pay, rather than bonuses and stipends and stuff like that. If that's a process, so we know we need recruiters, but we need to make sure that this recruiter needs more some incentive to get out there. They don't have to go deep. They don't have to really, they really don't have to go deep. They don't have to get out there. But I think if those other recruiters, you notice some are getting commission. They get salary plus commission. So we have to kind of look at, I'm not looking at just trying to get your regular community person, HR person, and a recruiter is a recruiter. And sometimes you might have to do a little synergy with this recruiter. And I would like for the board to be able to vet this recruiter and look at giving them a time, a deadline, or some type of way that, hey, what can you do for us with this pay? How many people can you get out there and get, if that makes any sense? Because right now, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place in getting this done. And I'm done with this conversation. We can move forward with the board.
Trustee Hill?
In my opinion, the last thing we need to do is hire someone at $90,000 a year and then give them a commission for doing their job. I don't even know.
No, sir.
Is that?
No, sir. This is a professional technical, it's not an administrative position. I added the skill and added the budget. So when I added the job description that we put together, so I added the human resource manager just so you all would know. How we took out the recruiting and added the benefits.
How much are they going to pay? I'm not sure.
That this position would be a group 4, right? So on page 17, you see your technical professional scale. Group 4 is your specialist area.
Yeah.
And typically we can't hire in past step 1, maybe step 2.
Okay.
And it's also commensurate with the benefits position that already exists, so it is an additional money.
$58,280.
That's step 1, yes, sir.
So $58,000. So I can't imagine paying someone $58,000 to do their job and then pay them a commission for doing their job and finding recruits. I'm still.
So I want to make sure that was a suggestion from the board president. Yeah, and I'm not going against the board president. What I am saying, I don't want us to lose the point of what we first started with, because we're throwing some things out. But I would ask the board, what do you mean by then we just don't do this and we're going to put this money somewhere else? What does that mean? So then what do we do with this? What do we do with recruitment? If the board is wishing to take this money and put it somewhere else, what do
And I
we
just said, he's talking about the HR manager role in general. He's talking about eliminating the HR manager role, correct? Because that's the vacant role. So you're talking about eliminating that role and all of that work.
No, I'm talking about eliminating the recruiter role under the new page 9.
Well, the new doesn't exist yet, so under where we are right now, that's a benefits position, there's a person there.
But the new is that
That's a
the
proposal.
work under the new is the work is being done right now.
Not technically, that's what I was trying to explain. It's being done in parcel, and technically we don't have recruitment happening. As recruitment is explained, we have someone posting positions, right? Reviewing people that post, that apply, setting up interviews, making offers, and onboarding people. So you're missing what is technically called recruiting.
And what I'm missing then, where is it at under the recruiting position under the new on page 9?
That work that is currently being done by the benefits person would also be a part of this person's job, but this person's focus would be on targeting the vacancies and creating applicant pools instead of just waiting for people to apply to positions. Because that's what we're doing right now. We're not recruiting, we're just hoping that someone will come across a posting and want to apply. So we're not on LinkedIn looking for people, we're not out at job fairs at colleges or even virtually. We don't have the capacity or the resources to do any of that. Because we have a person who has a job that's just trying to keep ahead with the people that wanted to apply.
But they're not applying. Right?
Trustee McIntyre.
I call the question.
You heard the call for the question. Means debates ceases, discussion ceases, all in favor of debate cease, say aye. Roll call, sorry. Ms. Beard, can you do the roll call vote for the call for the question, please? Yes. Start. Yes, so trustee Green is absent. Assistant Secretary Delroy is for the call for the question.
Call for the question? Yes.
Secretary Wu?
Yes.
Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
President McNeil?
Yes.
Vice President McIntosh is absent. And myself, Trustee Gilbert, is yes. Now, to the vote. Seeing there's no further discussion, motion to move resolution 1.6, acceptance of the proposal for HR recruiter positions for regular meeting for adoption, be conducted by roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve the motion. Trustee Green is absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer Delroy?
No.
Secretary Booth?
Yes.
Treasurer McIntyre?
No.
President McNeil? Vice President McIntosh is absent. And myself, Trustee Gilbert, is yes. So the motion fails by a vote of, 3 yes and 2 no. 3 no's and 2 yes. So the motion. Superintendent Jones?
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move resolution 1.7, authorization to approve payments to GSRP teachers to the regular board meeting on August 17th for adoption.
Properly moved, is there a second? Second. Been properly moved and second, is there any further discussion?
Just real quick, who are GSRP teachers? I was never given anything for acronyms or anything like that.
Great Start Readiness Program.
Again, trustee McIntyre,
Sorry, with your permission, trustee Gilbert. GSRP Great Start Readiness Program.
Thank you.
Pre-K teachers.
Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move resolution 1.7, authorization to approve payments to GSRP teachers to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Trustee Green is absent. Assistant Treasurer, Secretary Treasurer Dale Roy.
Yes.
Secretary Lewis.
Yes.
Treasurer McIntyre.
Yes.
President McNeil.
Yes.
Vice President McIntosh is absent. Myself, Trustee Gilbert, yes. Motion passes by a vote of 5 yes and 0 no. Superintendent Jones?
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move resolution 1.8, approval of UTF LOA planning periods to the regular board meeting on August 17th for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Trustee Delmore?
Is this tied in anywhere at all with the planning time that we're not giving the teachers?
This is from last year. We still don't have enough teachers to cover, for teachers to be able to have the plan. So teachers have to be paid for that time, because we don't have enough teachers to cover it.
And how are we alleviating that problem this year?
We're trying to hire new teachers.
I mean, is it possible for them, the teachers that have a planning period, at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, and overtime or whatever?
According to their contract, no. We have to have more special teachers. We have to have more teachers, to take the scholars in order for them to be able to have their planning department. So we have to pay them until we get the staff.
Okay, and when the teachers are doing their planning, do all the teachers go at the same time, or no? So there's maybe a third teacher or something that gives them a break, gives them their planning time?
Well, this is mostly an elementary issue. And so some teachers don't even take the plan. They plan at home. They plan before or after school, but they're supposed to be paid for that time because it's supposed to be during their clock hours. And so we don't have the staff to do that.
Okay. So to alleviate that problem, are we maybe this year paying them overtime to stay over after?
We have to pay them, yes. So they're doing the planning work, but we have to pay them to do it.
Right.
Instead of us providing the break throughout the day, like a music teacher or a gym teacher or an art teacher. So within their 7-hour day, they would have planning if we had them staffed, but because we don't, they're doing their planning either after school or before, and we have to pay them to do that.
Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move resolution 1.8, approval to the FBLA planning periods to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve the motion. Trustee Green is absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer Dale Maloney.
Yes.
Secretary Booth.
Yes.
Treasurer McIntyre.
Yes.
President McNeil.
Yes.
Vice President McIntosh is absent. Myself, Trustee Gilbert, yes. Motion passes by a vote of 5 yes and 0 no. Thank you, Superintendent Jones. And to Ms. Galloway, thank you. Seeing no further business, I declare the Human Resource Committee of the whole meeting adjourned. Now trying to forward with Treasurer McIntyre for the Finance and Operations Committee of the whole portion of the agenda. And the adjournment time is 9:40.
Thank you, Trustee Gilbert. I would like to call the Finance and Operations Committee of the whole meeting to order, and I'll call upon Superintendent Jones to present actions of the board.
Thank you, Treasurer McIntyre. Before we move forward, I would like to introduce to the board Mr. Chris Henderson. He is our new Director of Operations, and also I'm just going to have him come with Mr. Pete. All right, I'm really not. He just started, so I don't want to have him lead this portion, but Mr. Pete will support me as I go through this part. So I'm going to ask the gentleman to come forward, if you will. Just in case we have any questions about finance. But we did discuss these items in our finance subcommittee meeting. And so I would like to go ahead and seek a motion and a second from the board to move resolution 11.8, authorization to, wait a minute. Yeah, 11.7, authorization to purchase band hats to the regular meeting on August 17th.
It's been moved, is there a second? Yes, okay. It's been properly moved and seconded, is there any discussion?
So, what is it, about 50 heads? Is that what it is, 48 or something? That's
40.
Okay.
Is that, you're okay? Is there any further discussion? Chris?
These are adjustable hats, or is it, we're going to measure your head until you have? Because this is what I'm thinking, is band members, your band members change when you're not, when you're to the next. We had a problem in football in high school where we had a order balance. Because
I will have to get that information for you from the band instructor. I'm sure they ordered what they thought they needed, but I will check to see if those are adjustable.
Okay. And the other question is, we talked about uniforms at a previous meeting before. Are these hats going to match the uniforms? Is that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm good.
Well, I just want to know, and I don't know if the parent is there a number? Because I want to see, we're in a board meeting, so I don't want to see kick-ass, but I see it has a number. So, and I fully want them to have hats and everything that they need so that we can show up and show up.
I would say I appreciate that, and we will be talking to our band instructor. They do have some other things going on bringing them the opportunity for scholars that have actually get into the studio, start making their own music, to be able to put out the vision. So I know that doesn't answer your question, but I'm saying they're moving and they want to have that discussion with the principal. And so I'll kind of check to see if the band is up and running or if it's something that we're going to get up and running, which would be pretty kick butt.
Okay, we can have Bob Collins come and we can have a hybrid drum line. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
It's called a band challenge.
Any other discussion? Okay. Seeing no further discussion, motion to resolution 11.7, authorization to purchase band hats at the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Trustee Green is absent. Trustee Gilbert?
Yeah.
Vice President McIntosh is absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer Delroni?
Yes.
Secretary Booth?
Yes.
President McNeil?
Yes.
Myself, Treasurer McIntosh, yes. Motion passes by a vote of 5 yes to 0 no. Proceed, Mr. Jones.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move resolution 11.8, authorization to co-exit Southwest Academy gym floor to the regular meeting on August 17th.
Just supported in a second.
Yes, second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing no further discussion, motion to move resolution 11.8, authorization to co-SWA gym floor to the regular voting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. So call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Trustee Green is absent. Trustee Gilbert is absent. Vice President McIntosh is absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer Delroni?
Yes, but this includes re-ambling the floor.
The discussion has been, is over. We're on a roll call vote, yes or no?
Yes.
Secretary Booth? Yes. President McNeil? Yes. Myself, Treasurer McIntyre, yes. Motion passes. Trustee Gilbert? We're on a roll call vote. 11.8.
Yes, well, you're the voting stage, right?
And everybody's voted except for you. We just want this part not included.
Yes.
Change the absence to a yes. So the motion passes by a vote of 5 yes to 0 no. Please proceed, Mr. Jones.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move resolution 11.9, authorization to repair the cooler at Potter Elementary School to the regular meeting on August 17th.
Second. Been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Is that cooler, is it new or is it?
It is a new cooler, but it has not been connected to the electricity due to the requirement of a new panel being installed.
Okay.
Further discussion?
Is this the same panel that was on the same issue at one time?
Totally separate.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Seeing no further discussion, motion to move resolution 11.9, authorization to repair cooler at Potter Elementary School to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Trustee Green, absent. Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Vice President McIntosh is absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer Delroni?
Yes.
Secretary Booth? Yes. President McNeil? Yes. Myself, Treasurer McIntyre, yes. Motion passes by a vote of 5 yes to 0 no. Please proceed, Mr. Jones.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move resolution 11.10, authorization to replace stadium lights at Northwestern to the regular board meeting on August 17th.
And secondly,
That's what I am. So if we're gonna do this and put lights, that's what I am. So if we're gonna do this and put lights into this facility, then we're gonna be supporting the sporting events that go on there when we do this, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
What do you mean we, sir? What does that mean?
What that means is that we're gonna show up.
We go.
What I'm talking about, not just the board and administration, how we're gonna get the community to understand why we're doing this, why we're replacing the lights, why we're gonna fix this, if this is what the board decides. Because they're looking, if they're looking for something to come after that maybe we're not ready to do, or the board has decided we're not going to do at that time. You follow what I'm trying to say?
Yes, so this is our facility that we host home games.
Okay.
Currently, our football games happen at night.
Right.
And we don't have, the lighting is out.
You're really good, you know that? You're really good. I'm gonna let you slide on that.
Well, we don't have proper lighting.
Right.
And so we're constantly renting out some portable lights to come in when we can just go ahead and handle something that the board is already thinking about doing some renovations to their property anyway. So this is why we need to go ahead and handle our lights.
So just let me need you one more time and I'll let it rest.
Yes, sir.
So you're gonna get the nice lights, if we approve this, you'll get the nice lights. So what are you gonna do about the weeds?
The weeds?
The weeds.
You talking about the grass?
No, I'm talking about the weeds that's in between the fence.
We're on it.
We're
on it. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Couldn't let you slide.
That's fine. Yes, sir.
One of the discussions we have with Ace, who's currently doing our weed control and mowing, is that we need to start knocking down the weeds and various facilities in the fence line. And that was a discussion we had today, and that's in their scope of work, and they said they were going to start doing it.
So when will that start? Because you know the summer.
At the first school, they're going to start on Monday.
Oh, you guys are really good. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Good question. I'm good. Thank you.
Trustee Delano?
Thank you. Will the light work be done prior to the first home football? I don't know what
So,
that is.
let me say this. So when you were going to vote to move it, I was going to ask you to approve it. Now, that's up to the board to do, because I was called by the athletic director to say, Mr. Jones, we're behind schedule, and we need to get these lights ASAP. I said, well, I can't do that without the board's permission. But he said, I want to be ready for my home game. I know I'm letting you know this at this time, but I was going to say, board, after you said yes to moving it, I was going to ask you to go ahead and approve it so we can move a little quicker.
Okay. So
good question, Mr. Dillon. Thank
I
you.
know I got to get to the answer here. When is the first home game?
I would have to look on the website. It is up there. So
Then I'll ask these guys. Will you get it done by the first home game?
I would say no, sir, we will not have it done, as there's extremely time-sensitive requirements to get these, to procure them. So with the availability of lights and the circuitry required, I would say no, we'll not be ready for the first home.
If we approve this tonight to move forward, so we don't have to wait another week, and you get that approval tonight, how long will it take to complete the job?
What Chris is saying is they have to get the materials ordered, they have to schedule this, they have to have obviously a very tall net to get to the light, so there is a process there. So if they had the materials right now, they can give you a date, but it's going to take several weeks just to get the procurement of the materials. So we're hoping to have a game there this season.
So, where are we going to have our games at? I mean, this know if we're going to just change the law.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And how long have we known this?
These lights have been out for several years.
I know there have been night activities there for the last several years. I've been to them.
They had portable lighting brought in, and they were not the highest quality, so it was opportunity that they took, but it is not not what they want. That's why they want to go to the LED lighting, so the lights will be bright, and our Friday nights will be exciting with our drumline band and our football team playing their hearts out.
So, will all our home games this year be at Northwestern? I'm trying to remember, we're going to stick with the portable lighting until...
So our first home game is going to be August 26th, and it's going to be played at the Gridiron Classic, which is at Atwood Stadium. So we have some time to get this work done. But what the athletic director has asked me is, Mr. Jones, can we kind of try to push that and not wait another week so we can get it done quicker? So we won't have a home game before September. We won't have a home game. So he's talking to me now, just giving me the information. But if we can get going, it's possible that we can possibly reach that. We can't tell you because we don't have the equipment.
If we can't reach it, do we go back to the portable lights that we've been using?
We would have to, either Mr. Foster is trying to work out using Atwood, or we would have to go back to those lights until we get our lights put in.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to be playing home games somewhere for the
Absolutely.
Atwood or...
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
So if I may, it just, regarding the logistics, whatever happens, we're just moving forward with all deliberate speed as quickly as we can, and the best thing to do at this point, in your opinion, is to vote for this now, a week earlier. I mean, we can't go back in a time machine and vote earlier, so the best thing we can do is vote now, and then vote to proceed now rather than waiting a week at the regular board meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Is there any further discussion?
So I move as a friendly amendment to approve this tonight without waiting for approval at our next board meeting next Wednesday.
And it's been supported. Is there, who's the second? Okay. It's been supported and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move resolution 11.10, authorization to replace stadium lights at Northwestern with Trustee Del Moroni's friendly amendment to the regular, no, not to the regular, with the friendly amendment to approve it tonight, will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this motion. Trustee Green is absent. Trustee Gilbert.
Point of order. We need to approve the amendment and then the motion, or?
No, because she combined it. She put it together.
You mentioned it.
I mentioned it,
And we second it.
as a friendly amendment,
Yeah.
maybe.
We approved your amendment, we second it, now she just added it to that.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, Pastor Gilbert, in the normal course of action, you approve the amendment.
But as
and
the chair,
then-
she can't do that. She
Okay.
she can put them together.
Okay.
And it's, point of information, it's a relatively simple, friendly amendment because it's a friendly amendment, so that at least is my understanding, correct? Yeah. Trustee Gilbert.
Yeah.
Vice President McIntosh is absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer Del Moroni.
Yes.
Secretary Booz.
Yes.
President McNeil.
Yes.
Myself, Treasurer McIntyre, yes. Motion passes by a vote of 5 yes to 0 no. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Seeing no further business, and thank you and welcome. I am sorry, I get focused on scripts and things, so welcome to our new,
Operations.
I apologize. Welcome to our new Director of Operations. Welcome to our happy dysfunctional family. And we are really excited to have you and working forward in the future. But seeing no further business, thank you all. I declare the Finance and Operations Committee of the Whole adjourned at 9:59, would be 10 o'clock. I now turn the floor over to Secretary Bruce for the Academics Committee of the Whole portion of the agenda.
Good evening. I would like to call the Academic Committee of the Whole meeting to order. I will now call upon Superintendent Jones to present actions to the board.
Thank you, Secretary Rules. I seek a motion and second from the board to move Resolution 25.1, approval of course catalog, to the regular board meeting.
Second. Okay, it has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussions? Seeing no further discussion, the motion has moved Resolution 25.1, approval of the course catalog, to the regular meeting for adoption and will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Green is absent. Secretary Treasurer Del Marone?
Yes.
Me, yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Point of information, I believe you need to state your name.
Oh, yeah. Linda Booth?
Thank you.
Yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
President McNeil?
Yes.
And Carol McIntosh is absent. So it's 5 yes and 0 no. Okay. The motion did pass. Okay, Superintendent Jones.
I seek a motion and a second for the board to move Resolution 25.2, authorization to purchase Capturing Kids' Hearts PD services, to the regular meeting on August 17 for adoption.
Second. Okay, it has been properly moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, the motion to move Resolution 25.2, authorization to purchase, capturing Kids Heart CKH PD services, to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Green is absent. Treasurer Del Marone?
Yes.
Okay. Myself, Linda Booth, Secretary Booth, yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
President McNeil?
Yes.
And Vice President McIntosh is gone, is not here, absent, I should say. So it is approved 5-0. Okay, Superintendent Jones.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move Resolution 25.3, authorization to purchase Marzano PD services, to the regular meeting on August 17.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, it has been properly moved and supported. Any discussions? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move Resolution 25.3, authorization to purchase Marzano paid PD services, to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Green is absent. Treasurer Del Marone?
Del Marone, yes.
Marone, okay. Myself, Secretary Booth, yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
President McNeil,
Yes.
and President, Vice President McIntosh is absent. It passes 5-0. Okay, Superintendent Jones.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move Resolution 25.4, authorization to purchase Success for All SFA PD services to the regular meeting on August 17th.
So move.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move Resolution 5.4, authorization to purchase Success for All SFA PD services to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by roll call. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Green is absent. Treasurer Dale Maroney?
Yes.
Secretary Booth, myself, yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
President McNeil?
Yes.
Vice President McIntosh is absent, so it's 5-0. It passes 5-0. Superintendent Jones?
Yes, I seek a motion and a second from the board to move Resolution 25.5, authorization to purchase Cersei Dynex to the regular meeting on August 17th for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
If we could just get a quick explanation as to what is an integrated library system.
Is what's used for inventorying instructional resources. So as scholars, if they are checking out books for biology, for reading, if teachers are checking out instructional materials to use in their classrooms to support the instruction and the curriculum, those curricular resources are checked out from the library. And so that system maintains that. So similar to your Flint Public Library, if you check out a book and you don't return it, it categorizes it as if you didn't return, you have a fee and things of that nature. So that's what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Pastor Gilbert?
Secretary Bruce, Ms. Murphy, if they don't return it, there's no reprimand or anything. If they don't turn it, those in time.
So there is a cost associated with not returning books. So sometimes we've had this where seniors, upon their graduation, we have to make sure they don't have any outstanding senior debts. And it could be because of instructional resources that they haven't returned or turned back in. We do have partners that step up because we understand that can be a burden on our families. So a lot of times partners, CRIM has stepped up in the past to pay all the debts of scholars to make sure that that's not a barrier for them for graduation. But that is recorded by student number on if you are, discarding your instructional resources that are checked out to you.
Any other questions?
Further discussion.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move Resolution 25.5, authorization to purchase Cersei Dynex to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by roll call. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Green is absent. Treasurer Dale Maroney?
Assistant, yes.
Secretary Booth, myself, yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
President McNeil?
Yes.
And Vice President McIntosh is not available. It's not absent. So it passes 5-0. Superintendent Jones?
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move Resolution 25.6, authorization to sign MOA Dr. Gwen Reyes, Medical Director, SWP, to the regular meeting on August 17th.
So moved. Second.
It has properly been moved and second. Any discussion? Pastor Gilbert.
Thank you, Trustee Bruce. So the school superintendent that Trustee Bruce and I were at the other day. So what is the difference between that office and this? You understand what I'm saying?
I do. Okay. And I could answer, but I'm going to defer.
Ms. Murphy. Yes, Ms. Murphy.
What school were you all at? I'm sorry, I wasn't there.
We were at several school nurses and Dr. Reyes.
Okay, so the nurses are that they are nurse. We have to have a doctor, a medical doctor, because all of the standing orders that the nurses follow around care for the scholars has to be under the direction of a doctor. So Dr. Reyes is our medical director. So all of our medical orders are under her medical license. So the nurses, they are on campus every day in every building servicing scholars. But Dr. Reyes provides ongoing professional development for the nurses to make sure that they're following the proper scope of care for each scholar that we're seeing, that we are in compliance. Having a medical director is a requirement of our school wellness program that we operate under. And so Dr. Reyes is our pediatrician, and we stand under all the medical standing orders are under her medical license. So she's not, her office is actually at the farmer's market and the Hurley pediatrician's office. So she's not on our campus, but she does come on campus to support the nurses monthly, having trainings with them, making sure that they're administering. She was instrumental in building our COVID protocol. She's working on the monkeypox protocol as we speak. So she is very in tune with where we are medically.
Yeah, that was my next question. Where's our office at?
So can I? To add to that, these dollars that we get to have nurses in our buildings, we would not have those doctors without, we would not have those nurses without this doctor. So we would have to pay general fund in order to have a nurse in every school. So in order to keep these grant dollars coming in, you have to have a person of Dr. Reyes' caliber in order to get those dollars into the district. Okay.
Any other questions?
Is she allowed to write prescriptions for the students? So let's say, I don't know, they need an...
Great question.
Yes, sir. We do not write prescriptions for children. Okay. We do not do that. We do not bring on anyone that does that. However, we do, when they bring their medication, there's waivers that they have to sign to ensure that the parent is okay from the doctor, information from the doctor, to administer the medication. But we do not prescribe.
To piggyback off Trustee Dillon, when you say they have to sign, the parent have to sign?
Absolutely. They have to give us permission to administer the medicines to the children, whether it's an inhaler, whether it's Tylenol, whatever it is. Parents have to give us permission to give it to their child on a schedule.
And is that where the nurse would come into play, or you just give them the inhaler?
Sometimes the nurses support, yes, the nurses support with that. I would say yes, the nurses support with that. But sometimes we have to have some of our inter-office help with that if the nurses are not available. As long as we have that signed off on by the parents, we are okay to administer.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move Resolution 25.6, authorization to sign MOA for Dr. Gwen Reyes, Medical Director, SWP, to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call. When I call your name, please say yes or no. Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Green is absent. Treasurer Del Moroni?
Yes.
Okay. Myself, Secretary Booth, yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
President McNeil? Vice President McIntosh is absent. So it passes 5-0. Okay, Superintendent Jones.
Right. Last but not least, I seek a motion and second from the board to move Resolution 25.7, authorization to renew MOA with Lisa Brewer, LMSW, to the regular meeting on August 17th. School Wellness Social Worker.
So moved.
Support. It has been properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing no further discussion, a motion to move Resolution 25.7, authorization to renew MOA Lisa Bruder, LMSW, to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Green is absent. Secretary Treasurer Del Maroney?
Yes.
Myself, Secretary Booth, yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
Okay. And President McNeil?
Yes.
Okay, and Vice President McIntosh is absent. It passes 5-0. Okay, seeing no further business, I declare the Academic Committee of a Whole meeting adjourned. I turn the floor to the President, President McNeil, and we are adjourned for this session at 10:16 p.m. Thank you.
At this point, do any board members have any comments before we make our adjourn, and I got a couple of announcements?
Madam President?
Yes,
I would like to bring before the board about, and I've already mentioned this to Ms. Murphy, that it was at Durant DTO. So what we have, imagine this scenario. The kids are lined up to go to school, okay, and the parents are with them. And just to make a long story short and not to proliferate it any further. So we have these two parents, and something has carried over from where they were the night before. This is early in the morning, 8:50, 8:30, 8:40 in the morning before the children go into school. They line up on the door and they come back. You know how they do. So I did not witness this. I was told this by my daughter. And there were very vulgar language in front of us. Extremely. And it upset my daughter quite a bit. Of course, it upset me as well. And it upset several other parents that were standing around. So, without getting into the weeds, what, as I told my daughter, we need to find out what the policy is for the parents working. Did they hand out any initiation or any pre-school information about the conduct and how the parents are, whatever? So, is there something in place that the administration has that maybe we need to take a look at to either try to enforce or try to make sure that it's done in some way? Because the kids, my granddaughter was 5 years old, and we know 5 years old repeat everything that they hear, right, wrong, or indifferent. They will repeat. And so I want you to,
Yes, and what would need to happen is the parent that witnessed that, what we would love to have is our parents bring those things forward to the principal of the building. What we've done in the past and what policy brings us to is if we have irate parents, if we have parents that are acting unseemly, the principal has the right to ask the district to not allow that parent back on the premises, and someone else will have to bring that child to school. That has happened several times in our district, and so we follow that, but we would need to be notified, just like you're letting us know now, and then try to find out who those parents are.
And then, thank you, Superintendent. The second thing is concerning the teacher that came before us tonight in public comment. Whenever that information can be shared with the board in some type of session, closed session, whatever needs to happen, I really want to know about that. Will you do that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's it, Madam President.
So I would like to speak to that. It's not a matter of withholding from the board. It's a matter of making sure that the information that I give you is proper without putting a worry out there, and I don't have all the information. Okay? So you should hear something with either Thursday or Friday.
Thank you. One more thing. Ms. Beard, thank you. Thank you for your emails and letting us know. She had our package ready 4 or 5 days in advance. And I think that needs to be known to our board and to our administration that Ms. Beard, she's moving along at a well-kept pace, and I appreciate that. And when I went up there, she told me, she said, well, Pastor Gilbert, it's been ready since Friday. You didn't know that? You didn't read your emails? I said, I didn't. That's what she told me. So you only got one time to make me look stupid. I'll be reading my email. Thank you.
I'd like to say that as well. We're moving forward. Thank you, Pam. And again, welcome to our Director of Operations once again. This is, I see progress in our board. We're really trying, and onwards and upwards. Thank you to everybody, and at least we didn't go till midnight, so we're trying to get quicker. So thank you to the administration, staff, and everybody, and to everyone in the audience who stayed. Really appreciate everybody. Thank you.
And I want to thank Pam as well, but also thank the board, because that's what our executive board person did, was another administrative assistant, so she can get things on a timely manner, so she doesn't have to be overworked. And this is the way that she'll flow when she got extra help. Well, we got another executive assistant that took that work from her, where she can pay more attention to the work of the board, and that was the purpose of it. And now you see how smooth it runs when you divide that workload up. So I just want to appreciate you. We still have some things to do. Remember that Thursday or Friday we're going to Muskegon. Not this week, but I'm just letting them know that, because I won't be here, we'll be going to Muskegon. Our next board meeting is on August the 17th. Okay, at 6:30, and we had such a great time at the teachers, I don't know what we call that, opening ceremony. It rocked. We got 3 bags. They saw all the accomplishment that we done. My Facebook has just blown up, because a lot of the community did not know what we have done, because they look more at the dysfunction part. But in the midst of our dysfunction, Mr. Jones was able to demonstrate everything that the board had passed, and the community was excited that we had done so much work. And so I just want to say that we're doing a great job as a board, and Ms. Boo's have all the facts for us. And I turn it over to Mr. Jones before we adjourn.
You got it back. You get it back. You get it back. She's gonna hand it to you. So, I just wanted to say that there was a time, Board, where we were getting 1 or 2 items passed. And so, although I recognize that there's some things that we differ on, I need to be honest and recognize the fact that out of all the things that we had on the plate today, there was just one that did not pass. So I want to recognize the fact that we are getting more done than we were getting done a year ago. And so I do want to thank you for passing almost all of our items. And this has been happening for several months. And so we're getting there. And I want to acknowledge that openly to our public that I do see the progress that we are making as it pertains to getting our actions passed and things done in the district. So we're not all the way where we want to be, but we are better than where we were. So I just wanted to affirm you for and acknowledge the fact that we do see the fact that we're getting most of our items passed by our board. So thank you.
Just a reminder for fellow board members, tomorrow morning you're having some training at MASB, and I think even if you haven't signed up after the training, you can see it or at least listen to it online.
Thank you. Any more comments? Seeing no other bids, I declare